Hi guys, welcome back to Jika TV. In this video, we are going to talk about my ride from Mandaluyong City here in Metro Manila to the Antipolo Church in Rizal Province using my scooter Sokjin, an Aerlang 10 e-scooter. Before we proceed to the actual video, I'd just like to put out a disclaimer that nothing in this video is sponsored. If I do mention like a brand or two, it's because I am using that brand, or it's just because like I wanted to mention that brand because it was relevant to the video. So nothing in this video is sponsored, but if you do want to reach out for a sponsorship, you guys know where to hit me up. With all that out of the way, let's begin the video. So to be honest, I wasn't very hopeful about this because again, going to Antipolo Church means that we had to go to like really high slopes. I have watched a few videos going there, and the way that it was described to me by my best friend was like, you are gonna crawl. And so I actually did crawl. You will see it in the video later, and then I will also describe it to you. But basically, because my scooter is designed for city riding, and Antipolo, that place around Rizal, it is a mountain province, and just like saying that my scooter is for the city, not for going uphill, I already knew that I might not be able to finish this and might just like wait for my friend. But basically the reason why we went to Antipolo Church was to get our scooters blessed, because it's been a tradition for us, I guess, like for everyone who has a new vehicle, whether it's a motorcycle or a bike, like not an e-bike but like a normal bike, or a mountain bike, and even cars and stuff. So we go to Antipolo Church to have it blessed. So that's the reason why we were going there that day. So my scooter, again, is for city riding. It has 3 gears. The highest one, the third gear, can get me 40 kilometers per hour, the speed. My best friend's scooter, he has a Kaabo Mantis X. His can go up to 60 kilometers per hour. And his is more like heavy duty. Like if he wanted to go to Tagaytay, I think he would be able to get there in one piece. I'm not sure about like how much battery it's gonna consume, but he can get there. But basically, so I think that mine couldn't. And the range, mine can go up to 60 kilometers. I think JC's Mantis can go, I'm not sure if it's 80 or 100, but like since it's 2 times more expensive as mine, I think it's 2 times farther and faster than mine. Anyway, so the reason I'm telling you this is because again, going to Antipolo Church, it is a mountain province, and I have to be able to make it up the hills, like the various number of hills that before we can actually reach the church. And mine can only go up to 38 or 37 now, if I remember correctly. And it's not because it's a few months old. It's because I had the heatsink installed. So just a history, if you guys didn't watch my previous videos, the reason I got the heatsink installed is because I had one time where I was going up the Marikina Bridge, going from Pasig to Cainta, and my scooter just died. So it just suddenly died. And so I was like, no, if that's gonna happen to me whenever I would go to Rizal, where I play Magic cards and where my boyfriend lives, then my scooter's not gonna last me for very long. And so I had my heatsink installed. So the good thing is I'm not gonna have a scooter that's gonna die on me when I ride, when it's like overheating. But the trade-off is that's gonna be slower than usual. So the usual 40 kilometers per hour is only gonna be like 37 to 38. But again, it's so much better to have like a slightly slower scooter than to have a scooter that's gonna die on you. And the reason I'm explaining to you that is like I'm afraid the speed that my scooter can do won't be able to make up for like going up the slopes. But don't worry, it didn't happen. So before we get into all of that, we'll just have to see here on the screen. So on the 26th December of 2020, that's the time that we rode out. It was around 9 a.m. or 9:30 a.m. Again, because I'm not a morning person. Waking up before 8 a.m. has been a struggle since last year. But the good thing was that the sky was super clear and it wasn't super hot when we went out. But we did see that there was a chance of raining. But we actually thought that we'd be finished by then. But no, we took very long. So after checking the normal things that you should check for, so like the brakes, the horns, the lights, and the battery power, that we made sure was 100%, because like the total kilometers, we knew that we were gonna do around like 40 kilometers, but again, we didn't know because there might be like some shortcuts that we had to take, or like long cuts if some roads were closed. I often actually, so again, I said like I often go to Cainta to like play magic cards and visit my boyfriend. So my usual route was basically from my place, I would take Shaw Boulevard and then Ortigas Extension. Those are the only routes that I actually know how to take. Sometimes I do skip Shaw Boulevard and take the, which one? Like the road from Mandaluyong to San Juan. And the reason for that is because there are less cars. But yes, I know what you're thinking. San Juan has a lot of like slightly steep dips and roads. But again, it's so much better than driving in Shaw Boulevard because there are less cars and the roads are basically smaller, and they're also better because they're flat and everything. Anyway, so those were the only roads that I knew how to take to get to Rizal. I know that it's head shaking to think about because those are main roads and a lot of cars use it. Public, private, and most likely it will be jam-packed because, again, the amazing malls that decide to get built on the side of major roads, that's gonna cause a lot of traffic. And then we also have like the buses and the jeeps that just stop almost anywhere if they see passengers. But you know, what can we do? So if there are better roads that you guys know of, going from Mandaluyong or Pasig to Cainta, please let me know in the comments below. And since we headed out as soon as I got the gears ready, we didn't have time for breakfast or coffee. So coffee's more important, to be honest, at all. So this was solved because we saw McDonald's open. So again, told you this is not sponsored. But you know, McDonald's, if you want to sponsor me, I always eat at McDonald's in the morning if I have to like ride out very early. I don't usually record all of my rides, but I usually go to McD's and get breakfast there, you know, with the hash brown and the large iced coffee to make sure that I get it through the day. And then after the well-deserved breakfast, we made our way to the slopey road towards the Church of Antipolo. So there were a lot of cyclists and motorbikers and cars going the same way we were. And before you say that, of course, there's gonna be a lot of cars there, Jika, it's a road. I would like to clarify that it wasn't just because it was a road. There were a lot of people going to Antipolo Church with the same objective or the same reason that we were going there. It's because they want to have their vehicles blessed. And so we did get there. It was very frightening because when you look from afar, you'd be like, oh my God, that is such a tall road. How would I be able to reach it? There was a time that I was like, can I reach? Because I was only doing 20 kilometers per hour. And I was afraid that after doing 20 kilometers per hour, I could hear my scooter doing. So I was like, no, please don't die. But yeah, it didn't die. And then we did reach. It was like how many? Like 2 to 3, or like 3 to 4. I'm not sure how many slopes there were, but there were a lot, like slopes and turns and everything. But we made it, and that's a good thing to know. I did hear before doing this that a Xiaomi e-scooter actually made it also. So my friend was like, if a Xiaomi e-scooter could make it, which is definitely made for city riding, then like your Aerlang can do it because it's faster and it's more heavy duty. And I was like, okay, let's give it a try. So the process was simple. As soon as you get there, there's a tiny air-conditioned building where you have to go to make a donation. It doesn't specifically say how much you're supposed to give, but you need to give something because before you have to have your vehicle blessed, they're gonna ask you to present the donation receipt. And so I went there, I gave like my friend handed me 500 pesos, but I was like, oh, please take 100 peso each because we have like 2 scooters with us, etc. And so they gave us a receipt for that. They're not really gonna tell you to, like, you should, what kind of car you have, you should donate this much. So they're not gonna tell you that. They're just gonna ask you, how much do you want to donate? Which I think is pretty cool. Anyway, so the blessing took like less than a minute because so you guys have to like line up there. It wasn't like a solo blessing, so we were huddled up with a few motorcycle drivers. So we were at the back, and then a prayer was said, and then after the prayer was said, they were blessing us with holy water. I made sure everything, like all my gear, were blessed at the same time. So like my knee pads, my helmet, and even the small keychain for road safety that my sister gave me, I got it blessed too, along with my scooter. Hi guys, so, nakita niyo po umaambon. Napabless naman po namin yung scooter namin. Kaso hindi naman kayo makauwi dahil umaambon. Bless na rin si Carmila. Kaso, vampira po siya. So, hindi natin alam kung gagana pa siya later. Ang maganda po dito, dahil napabless na po natin siya, meron po siyang plus 10 na holy property. At meron po siyang 20% damage sa against the undead. Pero kailangan pa po natin siya i-level up. So, papalagyan ko siya ng hook dito.
So, kamusta yung biyahe? Mula Mandaluyong hanggang dito.
Okay naman yung biyahe. Kaso, gapang. Actually, ito. Yung, anong mantis to?
X.
Yung mantis X. Dinagpasan ako. Hanggang 24 lang yung abot ko eh.
Oo nga,
24 yung pinakamataas. Kaso nga lang, yung ibang pataas natin, ano na lang, 26 naman. Kaso yung pinakagapang ko, 24. Kasi medyo mataas.
Ilong muna tayo. Dito lang naman ba?
So, nakarating na po tayo sa Antipolo Church and nakapagpa-bless na rin tayo. Kaso, yung hindi siya ulan, di ba, dude? Fog. Kaso yung fog, nagbe-bring siya ng drizzle. So, ayun o. Pakita ko sa inyo. Ayan. Kita nyo ba? So, dito muna kami hanggang mawala yung drizzle. Kasi, just like we said in our previous videos, water and electric scooters do not mix. Sorry, medyo haggard. It was pretty tough, papanik. So, yung maximum ko is 24. Naka-third year na ako doon. Nagpakabit na ako ng heatsink, so hindi naman ako natatakot na na tumigil siya. Tapos, pero actually, nagulat ako na mas nagparamdam yung scooter ko nung pagbaba namin yung pangalawang bridge from Pasig to papunta dito, to Cainta. So, yung pangalawang Marikina bridge, nung pagbaba namin doon, biglang hindi man on and off yung scooter, pero parang naririnig ko yung niya, yung nagko-connect sa Bluetooth, hindi naman nakabukas yung Bluetooth ko. So either yung Bluetooth ni JC, yung kasama ko ngayon, nagko-connect sa scooter ko, or talagang siya, ayun talaga yung bridge na yon. Kasi hindi ko naman naramdaman, or hindi ko naman narinig yung on and on ng Bluetooth nung papanig ako dito sa super slopes dito sa Antipolo, sa Antipolo Church. So, yeah, I guess it's nice. Nung bumalis ako ng bahay, it was 100%, like 5 watts. Tapos ngayon, nasa 3 batteries na lang siya. Pero makikita natin mamaya, if ever na makaabot tayo pabalik ng Mandaluyong. Hopefully naman, since puro pababa, hindi ko naman masyadong papatakbuhin yung, hindi ako masyadong ang tawag doon? Yeah, hindi naman ako masyadong mag-squeeze ng throttle kasi nga puro siya pababa. So, buti na lang pina-adjust ko yung brakes ko sa harap kasi last time siya kumakapit. Hindi naman siya nakakalula. Ewan ko nga lang pababa. So hopefully, makabalik kami. Pag hindi, hintay-hintay na lang. Okay. Pahinga muna kami. Hindi pa tumitigil yung fog ulan. Okay. On the way home, we decided to grab a quick bite since it's about 12 noon at this point. JC wanted to go to Crescent Moon Cafe in Antipolo, which wasn't that far away. But then as soon as we got there, it was closed. As in, like, the whole place was closed, like barred. The gate was closed also. No one was there. And so we just decided to go home and just eat wherever that we stumbled upon. And lo and behold, after riding a few meters away from Crescent Moon, like into Antipolo, because we had to circle around, we had to come out the same road that we came in, going to Crescent Moon. We found a small eatery that is named Posyong Bulalo. So Posyong Bulalo is located at Milagros Subdivision, St. Anthony Street, Antipolo, Rizal. It had a variety of offerings from like your usual Filipino eatery, from sizzling plate meals, home-cooked meals, but sadly like the home-cooked meals wasn't available that day. And they also have their specialty, which is bulalo. So we got the fried chicken and the bulalo, which I believe can serve up to 3 people because we weren't able to finish it. The bulalo was only 160 pesos, which is a steal for me. But again, we didn't end up finishing it because we were too full from the soup and the chicken and the rice. And so we decided to give it to the very lovely puppy in the area. So the food damage was 280 peso, if I remember correctly, because if we calculate, the bulalo is 160 and the 2-piece fried chicken with rice is 99 pesos. So we just basically just bought those 2 things and then bought extra rice. But if we didn't buy the bulalo, I guess we wouldn't have spent like more than 200 pesos. Overall, the place was a good place to dine in. I'm not really super picky with food, so take this information as you will. And if you want to check them out, I will leave the Facebook link below, so you can also see their other menus and their exact location if you do want to visit them. So after getting our fill, we did decide to go back while the sky was still clear, because it did rain a bit when we were at the church. So the way down was like, it's way scarier than going up. I don't think that I'm overreacting. Like, try it for yourself. You won't really be able to see in the video because of like how my camera was placed, but the road has like a lot of steep dips. So my brakes and we were struggling on that day, and I could only drive on the bike lane just to be safe, of course. But then again, I wasn't the only one using the lane, since Antipolo Church is again frequented by a lot of people, especially not only bikers, how do you say, like cyclists. So, and then the other cars on the roads were like big cars, so we didn't have like your usual vans. We had like minivans, we had like mini trucks, we had 4x4s, and then we had like the usual cars. So I had to be like super aware. And then at the same time, in the same lane, we also had like cyclists. So when we finally got back to the plains, it started raining really hard. So we had to take refuge in like the nearest place that we could find. But we also had to bring up the scooters above with us. And we couldn't leave it down there because the rain was really pouring hard. I think we stayed there for like 10 to 15 minutes or 30 minutes, I'm not sure. And this is perhaps like one of the major disadvantages of e-scooters. Like, there's no lying about it. Like, when you compare e-scooters to like motorcycles, is that they can be driven under huge downpours and that they can seat like 2 people. You know, because if you try to ride your electric scooter out in the pouring rain, you are 100% gonna give it water damage. But besides not being able to ride in the rain, having an e-scooter is like super fun. So we got back to Mandaluyong city safely, dry, and in one piece. And our scooters were like very dirty though, with all of the puddles and the ashes that we had to go through in the roads. But the tires were still solid, like no water damage after checking in with the scooter shop, and no scratches that were life-threatening to the scooter either. As far as I remember, I still had 2 out of 5 battery bars or 3 out of 5 when I got home, and this was because of the slow charging the scooter does whenever you would like freewheel in longer periods of time. Just to sum up the whole trip, yes, the Aerlang 10 can definitely climb up to Antipolo Church. It took us a good hour from my house to the church. The max speed that I could do was like around 24 to 26 kilometers per hour going up the slopes towards the church. To be honest, I was afraid my scooter again would die on the way up because it was slowing down, and I really felt that gravity was doing its job. If you look at the screenshot of my Strava app, posted on the screen, my speed went down as the elevation went up, and again that's because even on third gear my scooter was clinging on for dear life. We spent a good hour and 4 minutes on the ascent, and with the elevation gain of 231 meters and a distance of 19.21 kilometers. The max speed that you're actually seeing, which is 47 kilometers per hour, is from when I was driving in Ortigas Avenue extension, which is one of my favorite places to drive on because the bike lane is super smooth. But you know, I hate it at the same time because the big cars, most of the time, I'm not saying all the time, but most of the time when I drive there, they don't respect the bike lane. And this is not just for cars. I can say this in full confidence because I do take the route at least twice a month, day or night, weekday, holiday, and the weekends. If the cars and motorcycles actually see that the bike lane is free, they will grab every chance to drive on it, even cutting off cyclists and electric vehicle users when they have the chance. But the only time that you can see them stay off the lane is if they see any of the traffic enforcers in the proximity, because there is like two bunches of traffic enforcers per lane. So when they see them, they're like, oh, I have to get off the bike lane. So they would try to see them actually abiding by the law. But okay, I'm not gonna be saying that only the motorbike users and car users are the ones that are actually misbehaving. Yes, there are some e-scooter users that are misbehaving. So they drive in the middle of the road without side mirror, and they would like usually drive all over the place. But again, the bike lane is already pretty small, and it's mostly like only one user can actually drive onto it. So this is me begging all of the riders out there, the drivers who like to drive on the bike lane, please give us some space because that's the only space that we have. Thank you. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Anyway, going back. On the way back home, we didn't ride as fast down the slopes because again, I was sharing the bike lane with a lot of other cyclists and scooter people, and so freewheeling without constant breakage was not advisable. There were also like some sharp turns. So I had to stop a few times when I would reach the plains to go down another part of the slope to catch my breath and also to make sure that my brakes were still working. JC told me that he had to wait for me to drive as far as I could away from him because he couldn't slide down properly because I was too slow. But I can't help it. I would rather be slow and safe than to live dangerously just to get there faster. So it took us an hour and 16 minutes and a longer distance, which is summed up to 21.73 kilometers because we started from Posyong Bulalo instead of Antipolo Church. My max speed was only 40 kilometers per hour, even if I did drive on the Ortigas extension, the one I told you about, where I could do as fast as like 47 kilometers per hour, I believe. And this was because the roads were very wet and I wouldn't want to risk it. All in all, the ride was very thrilling and enjoyable, and made me nervous. So will I do it again? 90% no, probably not, unless I really have to go to Antipolo Church with my scooter. Like going to the actual church, yes, I would do it. It's a nice place it's a beautiful place to go to if you want to pray, if you want to go meet up with friends, because there are a lot of like markets around it as well. But like just going there for fun, just for the thrill of riding to Antipolo Church from the city. No. No, 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 no. So long rides are actually okay for me, but like high elevations is not really my type. I'm probably just saying this because I have a mid-tier scooter, but we don't know. We don't know. So that is all from me for now. Thank you for sticking around if you made it until this part of the video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, give it a thumbs up. Sharing would be amazing, and if you want to see more of my ride content, please hit that subscribe button. Again, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!